Welcome in guys to another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile. Today we're showcasing Arkana from Battle City coming up. Looking forward to bringing you Arkana's Battle City deck profile. Let's get straight into it, shall we? Start off with the Ace Monster and we run 3 copies of the Dark Magician. 2500 attack, 2100 defense. Just to point out to everyone, this is the Dark Magician that Arkana actually has. It's the red copy right there. Next up I run 1 copy of Magical Marionette, 2000 attack, 1000 defense. Spellcaster effect monster with the effect, each time a spell card is activated, place 1 spell counter on this card. When that spell card resolves, this card gains 200 attack for each spell counter on it. You can remove 2 spell counters from this card, then target 1 monster on the field, destroy that target. So that's a very useful card actually. It can boost up into a decent attacking monster, and also you can get rid of a threat if you get enough spell counters on it. So I think that's a really good addition to Arkana's deck profile. Of course, I run 3 copies of Legion the Fiend Jester. So Legion the Fiend Jester has 1300 attack, 1500 defense. Also a spellcaster effect monster. During your main phase, you contribute summon 1 spellcaster monster in face-up attack position in addition to your normal summon/set. You can only gain this effect once per turn. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 spellcaster normal monster from your deck to the graveyard to your hand. You can only use the effect of Legion of the Fiend Jester once per turn. So that's a pretty amazing card as well. That can really get you going places with this deck profile. Next up, I run 3 copies of Malise, Doll of Demise. It has 1600 attack, 1700 defense. Pretty useful 4-star monster. It's a Fiend/effect monster. If this card is sent from the field to the graveyard by the effect of a continuous spell card, special summon this card from the graveyard during the standby phase of your turn. And we can do that with this deck too, with a card later on in the profile. We run 2 copies of the Mystic Tomato. So Mystic Tomato has 1400 attack, 1100 defense. Very useful plant effect monster actually. When this card is sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, you can use a special summon 1 dark monster with an attack of 1500 or less in face-up attack position from your deck. Then shuffle your deck. So there's so many dark type options in this deck. There's a few cards over the 1500 attack limit unfortunately, but I've still managed to put a few in there that this card can give you access to. Run 2 copies of Petin the Dark Clown. 500 attack, 1200 defense. It's a spellcaster effect monster. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, special summon 1 Petin the Dark Clown from your hand or deck. Useful enough card. We run 2 copies of the Illusionary Gentleman. I thought this card felt a good fit in Arkana's deck. 1500 attack, 1600 defense. It's got an interesting description as well. Wearing odd fashions, which it kind of fits Arkana. And then this gentleman is very fickle, etc. Like hopefully you guys agree with me with that choice. We run 2 copies of Rogue Doll. So Rogue Doll is 1600 attack, 1000 defense. We run 2 copies of Mystic Clown, 1500 attack, 1000 defense. Say for example, you can use Mystic Tomato. When it gets destroyed, Mystic Clown can come out just for a little bit extra attack. To round off the monsters, guys, I run 1 copy of the Dark Elf. 2000 attack, 800 defense. It's got a little bit of a cost to attack, but I felt it was a good fit for Arkana's deck again. I was just thinking in his battle between him and Yugi, he would have something like this in his deck because Yugi has Mystical Elf and Arkana has to go the opposite, so we'll have a Dark Elf in there. On to the spell cards of this Arkana Battle City deck profile, guys, and we've got some amazing spell cards in this, starting off with 2 copies of Anti-Magic Arrows. At the start of the battle phase for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, spell and trap cards and their effects cannot be activated. Cards and effects cannot be activated in response to this card's activation. In this situation here, when you play anti-magic arrows with this character deck profile of Arkanas, you want a couple of Dark Magicians on the field so you can do a wee bit of damage or get a couple of monsters of your opponent off the field. We run in another amazing card. We run 3 copies of Dark Magic Curtain. It pretty much gives us access to a Dark Magician at the cost of half our life points. And I like that in this deck because you haven't got really the out-and-out powerhouse 4-star monsters that can hold opponents out. But if you can get a Dark Magician out straight away, you get your opponent on the back foot. And that's where your 4-star monsters can help aid Dark Magician in giving you a victory with Arkana's deck. So next up, I run 1 copy of the Ectoplasma. So Ectoplasma is once per turn during each player's end phase. The turn player must tribute 1 face-up monster, and if they do, inflict damage to the opponent equal to half the original attack of the tributed monster. That is where Melee Style of Demise comes into play in this deck. You can tribute that, and then it comes back on the field because of its effect. So that's an amazing thing that you can do a bit of burn damage and keep continuously doing it. And your opponent probably won't have this card in their deck. Just means their resources are going to the graveyard, and that means you're able to build up an advantage with this profile. We run 1 copy of the Pot of Greed. Also I run a copy of Monster Reborn. Run the 2 cards actually of 1,000 Knives. 1,000 Knives is if you control Dark Magician, target 1 monster your opponent controls, destroy that target. So basically this deck, as in the anime, it revolves around Dark Magician and its plays. I've added a very interesting choice to this profile too to round out the spell cards. I have added Card of Demise to this profile. So Card of Demise is drawn until you have 3 cards in your hand, also for the rest of this turn. After this card resolves, your opponent takes no damage, but the +3 could be handy if you've got no cards in your hand. During the end phase of this turn, send your entire hand to the graveyard. You can only activate 1 card Demise per turn. You cannot special summon during the turn you activate this card. But in saying that, there is a reason why I put card Demise in the deck, because of the artwork with the guillotine, and there's a bit of a backstory with Arkana and guillotines when we talk a little bit more depth in the next card, which is a trap card that I run in this deck. And that card is Tragedy. We run 3 copies of it. So Tragedy original artwork is a guillotine, but the picture on here, the Tragedy here, is pretty much something to do with Arkana's, wears the mask, and his face is all disfigured from something along the lines of that. But you guys have to look that up. I don't know the full story. So Tragedy is when a face-up attack monster your opponent controls is changed to face-up defense position. Destroy all defense position monsters your opponent controls. Pretty amazing card for this profile. Next up, I run 3 copies of Dark Renewal. So Dark Renewal reads as follows. When your opponent normal with special summons a monster, target 1 of those monsters and 1 spellcaster type monster you control. Send both monsters to the graveyard, then you can special summon 1 dark spellcaster type monster from your deck or graveyard. So that is again going to get you your Dark Magician onto the field. So Dark Renewal, amazing choice for this profile. Next up, I run 1 copy of the Fiendish Chain. So Fiendish Chain is activate this card by targeting 1 effect monster on the field. Negate the effects of that face-up monster while it is on the field. Also, that face-up monster cannot attack. When it is destroyed, destroy this card. So we have put this in Arkana's deck. In the anime, he ran a card called Nightmare Chains or something along the lines of that, which prevented Dark Magician from being able to attack. Fortunately, that card hasn't been printed in the anime, from the anime to the TCG or OCG yet. So I had to come up with an alternative, and I thought Fiendish Chain fit the bill. To round off the deck profile, guys, I run 1 copy of Pineapple Blast. Pineapple Blast is when you normal summon a monster if your opponent controls more monsters than you do. Destroy your opponent's monsters so that your opponent controls the same number of monsters as you. Your opponent chooses which of their monsters are destroyed. So that's a pretty effective way of just getting the board on an even playing field of sorts. And like I said, hopefully you enjoyed that profile, by the way. That was an amazing profile. There's some really interesting cards in Arkana's deck. Smash the like button and whatnot, guys. Give us a comment as well. To close off the profile, of course, we have to go with our favourite card. And it is pretty obvious what my favourite card is, and that is Dark Magician. So yeah, tune in for more deck profiles, and I'll see you again next time with another one.